as a catalyst, you are instantly shifting the energy around you. It doesn't matter if you're conscious or unconscious of this knowledge. You do it anyway, a million times a day. You can't stop being a catalyst any more than you can stop an avalanche billowing downhill. Hi, everybody. I'm Diane Armitage, and welcome back to the Catalyst Code, where we crack the internal code that changes the external result. I am your host, Diane Armitage, and after 27 years as Bob Proctor's writing partner and protege, I've been helping people all over the world step into their greatness and create better in their worlds, whatever that better might be. And I think it's about your turn. Each week, Catalyst Code teaches you how to activate momentum, rewire your mind, and create results that stick. You are the catalyst. This is the code. So let's go. Today, I want to talk about your power. And I want to start with this question. Do you feel sometimes like you're living inside a small glass jar? A human life is a collection of minutes, hours, and days. These are the building materials, and it's left up to us to determine the kind and size of structure we build for our lives. Don't wait for something outside yourself to make you happy in the future. Every minute counts now. It's time to start acting as the creator of your life. So I want to discuss creators and catalysts in your life and in life around us. Now, recently I was helping out a client, a very bright young woman who felt that she had come to the end of her rope. After a recent divorce, she moved to a new town. She had made very few friends there and had just been laid off by the company who had transferred her there in the first place. She was awash in bills. She had a steep mortgage payment, and she had all these ongoing unresolved issues with her former company. She felt completely alone. Now, it seemed as if she had no friends to turn to, no support system. And as a result, she was feeling pretty despondent. Now, here's the rough truth. This woman had made choices in her life, whether conscious or unconscious, that got her where she landed. She chose, and the results occurred. That's simply the way it works, because we don't recognize the energy that we are and that we have within us to direct the energy out there. You can't go against the grain of natural law. You are part of the law. Energy is. Energy is always in motion. And you are part of the law of laws, the law of cause and effect. So much of this happens in our lives, and we think that it's an outside circumstance that is affecting us. But in reality, it's actually something that we turned on with our own energy. Earl Nightingale told a great story in his Lead the Field program about a farmer who found a small little pumpkin on his farm, and he poked it into a little glass jar. The pumpkin grew to the size of the jar and grew no further. Its growth opportunity was obviously restricted. And in many ways, we're a lot like that pumpkin, only it's we who do the poking. We limit our own growth by making choices that put us in that confined little space, or we rely on choices that were made for us that we don't even question or look upon as choices. They've been a part of our cellular structure for so long, since we were kids, that we don't even realize they operate our daily lives. Now, the solution is easy. And I could have told this woman the very same thing. If she didn't like her results, she needed to change her choices. If you don't like the effect, you change the cause, right? By intentionally changing her choices, she would create new results. I knew that. And in fact, she knew that. But in her current mindset, lecturing her on this truth wasn't going to get me very far. She was hurting. She was hating her life. So instead, I approached the subject by talking instead about polka-dotted fish. See, many times I meet people who are hurting, people who are seriously disliking their lives, even with incredible success that they may have created around them. And invariably, as their story unravels, I learned that they had at some time along the path placed themselves in what they thought was a sure, safe bet. good decision, risk-free decision, the way it's always done, the way it's always done in our family, the way it was expected of them and their family. Just as that pumpkin tumbled into a protective glass womb. But as these people began to grow and mature, they found themselves pressed tight against the glass. Their safe womb had instead become a tomb. And tombs, my friend, are for the dead. Usually the clients who find their way to me aren't lost. They might feel like they're struggling. They may feel like they're even dying inside, but they're not even close to that end. They already have a sense about their creative selves. They already know intuitively deep in the depths that they're responsible for this sort of wrong, wonky turn, and that there's a better way, a way out of the confined life that they are experiencing. But for every one person who finds his or her way to this truth, I'm willing to wager that there are thousands of others who don't even know where to turn. They might be mildly dissatisfied with their lives, or they might be absolutely at a loss, ready to give it all up because they don't see a way out of the glass jar that they have created around their lives. The thing is this: you were put on this earth to live out your life in a self-imposed glass jar. The Creator put you on this planet so that you would continue the creation process in your own life. Now, whether you believe in a creator or whether you believe in a catalyst, we're going to get to that. But just bear with me here, because we are talking about an energetic source, a dynamic energetic source that kind of got everything rolling, including you. Okay? Now, you can certainly dribble on about your bland life of your own creation and say you're content with your bland life that you have chosen, but you have that choice, but it wasn't the plan. You might believe that a kernel of a thought got this world rolling into existence. This is what I refer to as a catalyst. Or you may prefer to believe that a creator sat down and put paper and pencil to draw up these extensive plans. Whether a kernel or a full-blown master plan, catalyst, creator, you can be very sure of one thing. The effort that went into creating life force on this planet was not a driveling, bland exercise. I just don't see how you can possibly look at a giraffe or stare up at the night sky on a moonless night or experience a sea lion waddling up to look you right in the eye, or even walk past one of those, perky bird of paradise bushes with those orange and purple blooms. I mean, who would have thought of that? Without coming to the conclusion that there's a thinking mind behind all of this creation. It is a thinking mind with a knowing sense that all things are possible. Beyond that, I think it probably has a sublime sense of humor. I mean, imagine the architect of the universe suddenly sitting bolt right up in the middle of a project, like maybe overseeing the Grand Canyon formation or adding that special touch of salmon jumping upstream. I mean, that doesn't make any sense, because our inventive architect had just had this startling idea of the anteater or the panda bear or those seawater polka-dotted fish that just happen to glow in neon. Even the octopus is a bit of a stretch in the creative endeavor arena. I mean, let's face it. I remember Dr. Seuss said once that he chose to live in La Jolla, California, which is only about an hour south of me, because all of the strangest trees and bushes and critters grew there too. He said he didn't even need to really extend his imagination because God had already completed the glory, goofy, creative sketches in Dr. Seuss's behalf, just outside his study's window. Now, while I will agree with Dr. Seuss about his weird tree observation in La Jolla, we all know that he leveraged his own creative feat on that diving board of rather impractical fauna to create humor and possibility in his books. Dr. Seuss understood that he was a creator in his own right. He was an extension of the creator. And when he understood that, he effortlessly became the catalyst inspiring the creative imagination in millions of children and their book reading parents. Now, when you're having despondent days or feel that your life has just become too bland or difficult to bear any longer, remember this. Whether you believe in a creator or whether you believe in a catalyst that started this whole thing moving, whatever that is, didn't just whip you up on an assembly line of legs and arms and ears. If the anteater and the polka-dotted neon fish came from this creator's mind, this catalyst's mind, imagine what kind of thought and planning went into you. Unlike any bush or fish out there, you've not only been gifted with the ability to create, you've been given the thinking and strategic skills to actually choose what you're going to create for your life. You know, George Bernard Shaw said, imagination is the beginning of creation. You imagine what you desire. You imagine what you desire. You will what you imagine. And at last you create what you will. I'm going to say that again because it's such a great quote. Imagination is the beginning of creation. You imagine what you desire. You will what you imagine. And at last you create what you will. How did that man know that he was talking about the Tower of Power concept that I've been teaching for the last year? So Stella Adler, she was this great acting coach, and she once told a group of aspiring actors that the thing that leads you here at this moment is that you have talent. The thing that makes you say, I want to do this thing, this is the beginning of talent. Now, Stella Adler, she was right. You don't have to concern yourself as to whether or not you have the talent to complete what you want to create. You have the talent. Your want and the talent are as connected as the two sides of your hand. This is the most magnificent and generous gift you've ever been given. You have the unique ability to pluck ideas out of the ether like a kid fishing in a stocked pond. The whole world is your option. Dr. Seuss got it right when he wrote the book, The Places You'll Go. What do you want to do? Where do you want to be? Who do you want to have around you? It's all your choice. It's your option. You have the creator in you. You are a creator with a palette of choices arrayed before you. So, what are you sitting there for? When you have despondent days, and everyone does from time to time, remind yourself of this. For whatever reason, you might not be enjoying a certain aspect of your life, but remember, you created your way into it. You made choices, and bada bing, bada boom. The universe simply put it into motion for you. It's just law. That's law of cause and effect. You got what you asked for, even if you never realized you actually asked for it. But now understand this. You can just as easily create your way out of it. It might not seem that easy, but it really is that easy. In fact, it's even easier getting out of your less than disastrous situation to create the complete opposite. It simply takes focus and building the belief, which can be done by relying on what I call your built-in tower of power. Don't tell people you're trying to change your life or that you're working on a different solution for your life. There doesn't have to be any try or work about it. Why? Because your spirit, you've all got one, is always for expansion and expression. It's never for disintegration, stalling, sitting on the curb. Your spirit is always for growth. And our discontent, even our total dissatisfaction in our lives, is what precedes the most creative state that we can move into. Did you catch that? Your dissatisfaction in any aspect of your life is what precedes the most creative state that you then move into. Abraham Hicks talks about this. Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks, she says, anytime that you feel this in your life, it's contrast. It's showing you the contrast of what you prefer in your life. So are you going to define that preference? This is what we call the law of polarity. For everything that's ick over here, you have the creative and catalytic ability to shift to the other side, the opposite, the polar opposite. This is what I'm talking about. Now, when you have this grand, great, amazing idea, you'll even feel pushed in this direction because it's what you're meant to do, what you're meant for doing in your life, what can be achieved by you. Now, let me repeat this. This is a gift that has been given to you. It's the same option that's open to everyone on the planet. Yet so few people are awake to it. You are awake. It's why you're here listening to me. You're on the track to your better life and your greater purpose, even if it doesn't necessarily feel like you're there yet. Now, Earl Nightingale, he reminded us in Lead the Field. It was a beautiful, beautiful program and seminar. He said, we've all been given the same plot of land to work. What we do with that plot of land will determine our greatness and our success. Now, by using the creative faculties of our endless possibilities mind, we have the ability to tap into the non-physical world, the world of absolute ether, where dreams are founded. In that realm, we can choose our thoughts. We can form whatever ideas we choose, because we've all been given the Creator's gene. Now, by first holding that chosen thought or thoughts in our mind, and then depositing that same thought in our heart, where our passion and interest kindles that thought, this is imagination. This is imagination in our Tower of Power. Imagination is key. And that idea begins to immediately move into form. Now, in scientific terms, in physics terms, this is referred to as yet another law of physics, transmutation of energy. In spiritual terms, it's referred to as prayer. Which brings us to another interesting point, the concept of prayer. When you say you're praying, you are asserting that you would like your reality to be altered in some way, right? You've chosen an idea or a thought of what you prefer your reality to be, and you're asking God or spirit or whatever you believe out there to assist you in this request. Now, through the act of praying, you have already consciously or unconsciously called in an attractive force, the law of vibration. Yes, another law of physics, another planetary law of physics. Remember, your mind is nothing but energetic activity. The image that you hold in your mind is energetic activity too. And it will dictate the vibration that you are in at any given time. As the image changes, as you pray for a different and specific result over there, the entire vibration of you, energetic you, changes. The vibration moves into your reasoning mind, yet another entity in your Tower of Power. It moves into your conscious thinking mind to your subconscious doing mind. Your subconscious, it's just in charge of creating a reality for you from that accepted thought of your conscious mind. In other words, this thought in your conscious mind will begin to move into reality as long as you stay on course believing that you deserve this new reality. The belief. That's what I talk about in this whole Tower of Power process. Because in most cases, our conscious mind, our reasoning mind, isn't necessarily on board with wild-haired new ideas you might have for yourself. So It takes starting at the top of your tower, the highest energetic levels of you, the highest intellectual gifts that you have been given, to bring the idea down and softly convince your conscious mind it's good, it's acceptable. And I've covered this entire Tower of Power teaching in my masterclass, and you can find that at dianearmitage.com/mytower. So you take this idea and you loft it down your Tower of Power. You're not forcing it down. You're not driving it down. You're lofting it down your Tower of Power so that you can ensure that the new idea becomes your new reality. Now, I show you how to do this in my masterclass and in my extended course that I call Money Physics. But see, here's where this whole Tower of Power of creation can be leaning in the wrong direction. Because in many cases, people have no idea that they've begun this creative process of their own accord. If they knew what they were thinking was creating their reality, they might actually expect its eventual reality rather than doubt whether their prayer has been heard. Now, on the other end, if they knew that their thought was creating a reality, form follows thought, would they really be allowing that thought in their mind, in the creative repository of them? Remember, faith and fear both demand that you believe in something you cannot see. It is your choice. So are you going to play the faith side or are you going to play the fear side? Because it doesn't matter to your subconscious mind. It will create that reality. Your faith, your fear doesn't matter to the law of vibration, the physics law of vibration. Like energy attracts like energy. It will simply magnify and create whatever side you choose. Many people have believed from childhood that their lives are in a separate power's hands. I mean, they may say, for instance, that they've prayed and put their life's direction in God's hands. What happens now is up to God, they often say. Now, I have no doubt that God or spirit is an active force in helping you manifest a better reality from your deeply intended prayers. But I also have no doubt that praying and then taking a passive stance by saying that God, this thing that's outside of you, this greater power up there, will either be responsible for your new direction or your ongoing despondent rut. It's not what God intended when first giving you the ability to pray. When God, the divine element, the energetic source, whatever you want to call it, gave you the ability to wish and dream and pray, God was really giving you the ability to co-create by working in harmony with the energy of the universe, because you are an energetic being working in harmony with the energy of the universe, whether you know it or not. You are intended to be a creator of your life, not a bystander on the sidelines watching your own life roll by. So by all means, pray. This begins to move energy into motion in your behalf. Don't beg. Pray with assumptive success in your mind. Pray. And then, as Bob Proctor used to tell me, move your feet. Move your feet. Or as Hippocrates once said, prayer indeed is good, but while calling on the gods, a man should himself lend a hand to the gods. Do whatever you can think of to increase the momentum already rolling in your behalf. I like to think of it as like a lumbering jet, making its way down the runway. Your thoughts, your prayers are setting the wheels rolling, but it's up to you to step on the gas if you want to see this dream of yours lift off. So what I would suggest you do, sit down and make a list of solutions, not solutions that you feel are forced, not solutions that make you feel really crummy and bad. Make a list of solutions that feel inspired and fun. Easy steps that you can take to create that greater momentum. And in so doing, you're setting up an expectation within yourself and for your dream. You're getting emotionally involved in seeing this dream come to fruition. It doesn't matter how big or little you might think the dream is, just get it moving. And it all starts with what? Your imagination. Enlarging and improving on that bright idea that you just received. When you begin to move toward your dream, first with your imagination, and then with any inspired action you can think to take, the dream, the goal, actually begins to move toward you at an accelerated rate. What does this go back to? The law of vibration. I explain this at much greater depth in my courses. I could give you hundreds of examples over the years of how the law of vibration has stepped in to accelerate the process. Results that have happened brilliantly and beautifully in my life, and the life of many, many, many of my clients. Examples that span from what some would call coincidences to flat out phenomenal miracles. I remember hearing once that a coincidence is God choosing to remain anonymous. And once you truly understand the role of creation in your life as a co-creator, you understand that coincidence is creation. It's simply arriving under another name. You've probably heard me refer to the story of me wanting to move to Laguna Beach, the town of my dreams. But as I one day fatefully told Bob Proctor, I just couldn't afford it. I wasn't sure how I could afford the day-to-day lifestyle. Now, remember when I made reference to that plot of land earlier in this episode? Each of us has been given the square of life waiting there for us to plant the seeds. These thoughts I was having, I can't afford it. How would I live there? They were only going to grow thistles in my life. In situations like this, when you feel like something just can't be done or a certain lifestyle would never be yours, call to mind this vision, this acre of ground covered in thorns and thistles. Who wants that? Remember, you are a creator. Energy moves into action to create the reality of whatever you are thinking. In this case, I was letting old paradigms, old thought patterns of lack and limitation influence my thinking. The old reasoning mind that bubbles up. I am a creator just like you. And as a creator, there is an unending supply of unadulterated creative power continuously flowing to and through my consciousness, to and through your consciousness, perfectly willing and able to move my wildest dreams into action, perfectly willing and able to move your wildest dreams into action the moment you say, I believe this is happening. Now, at the time, my old program paradigm stuff, they were taking on the role of like psychic beavers, gnawing, felling the trees, doubt, fear, self-worth issues, images of poverty, struggle in the path of that power's flow. Bob told me that the fastest way to clear this psychic dam of rubbish was to immediately spend time that very evening writing down every detail of what my view would look like from my living room window in that town. And then, of course, he told me that afternoon to drive into Laguna Beach and acquire a post office box. That's right. Drive all the way into Laguna Beach and take out a post office box and start forwarding my mail. Now, this is in another big episode that I've taught. But in short, I did what Bob told me to do. You don't not do what Bob tells you to do. I began forwarding my mail, and then I did what Bob told me to do next. I purchased boxes and packing material and started filling those boxes every night. And every night I maintained focus on what my view was from my new living room window in Laguna Beach. And I expanded that dream with my imagination to actions I would take, stores I would visit, friends I would get to know in my daily life in this town. And when I began to feel doubt creep in, I would sit down and I would start writing its details on note paper. This act of writing ingrained my conscious desires into my subconscious mind. Imagination at play. Imagination at play, very important in the creation process. Well, as you can imagine, at the end of the story, in less than 10 days, a rental opportunity popped into my email box, completely unannounced, unexpected, and from a complete stranger. And lo and behold, it was a beautifully redone cottage in that seaside town. It even had a view from the living room window. Now, I had two things working in my behalf: expectation and power. Expectation and power. You have that too. Just as that jet plane must exert more power in takeoff than in flight itself, so should you apply yourself vigorously to those first actions, those first inspired, kind of wicky-wacky, crazy, wild-haired actions, those initial and all-important steps. It's as if you're telling the universe that you really mean business. What you're really doing as an energetic being in the universe, you're pushing energy out in an expectant, progressive form. And what does the universe do? It complies with your energetic force and moves forward with you accordingly. It's physics. My Laguna Beach arrival story is just one small example of the creator process at work. Now, some less aware people would shrug it off as a mere coincidence or good timing, Di. I can assure you, as soon as you start looking, you will find creators at work in their own lives at all levels of activity. You will also undoubtedly find this truth, this expectation and force being power, not force being push, applied in the lives of every successful man and woman. Bob used to refer to the fact that these people do not possess an easy chair frame of mind. He said they have studiously avoided that fatal combination, what he called dropsy and heart trouble, dropping into an easy chair and not having the heart to get out of it. No easy chair frame of mind for you. No easy chair frame of mind for them. And as a result, their names flood the papers and the business magazines. They're lauded in special ceremonies. They're praised in their own boardrooms, and they're looked upon with awe by those who claim to be their competitors. They are involved in their communities. They're loved and respected by family and friends. They see what they want for their destiny, and they create it accordingly. They actively choose that destiny, and then they take inspired action. They get their feet moving. As William Jennings Bryan says, destiny is no matter of chance. It is a matter of choice. It is not a thing to be waited for. It is a thing to be activated. Once you understand that you have the creator's gene in you, your life becomes this endless sea of options. You can go anywhere and do anything you choose to do. Now think about that. You can go anywhere and choose to do anything you choose to do as long as it does not violate the rights of others or the laws of the universe. Now, I want to make a side note here that is very important. When the creator set this world in motion, there was no self-interest or malicious intent. There were no boardroom power plays at stake. There were no lobbyists playing politics. No reason for any one-upmanship. All of those words, those phrases, the creator left to our weaker selves to invent. You never, ever want to employ self-interest or malicious intent in what you are choosing to create. Ultimately, it would only cause disintegration in the long run. Now, that being said, let's return now to the ability to create anywhere and anything. This could be quite a rush of initial realization. Recognizing the sheer magnitude of this absolutely housed within you can be, I don't know, somewhat disorienting. Maybe it makes you feel a little dizzy. Some people come to me because they feel this overwhelm. Now that they know what they can do, they're not sure they're quite ready to do. They're not sure how to be ready. They've lived their lives in such an opposite frame of mind in this little jar for so long that they feel as if they've just look down to investigate why their feet aren't moving, and they're finding that their feet and their knees and their thighs are buried deep in this thick muck of their old paradigms. It's okay. There's a way out of that bog. They understand that life is there waiting for them to take it by the reins, and they feel almost frozen with indecision and anxiety. Where do they begin? What if their biggest dreams look to be in conflict with each other? What are their first steps? What are the wrong steps? In these instances, I restate the importance of taking small steps in the direction of an idea that really makes your heart sing. What would be some fun, inventive, wild-haired, maybe slightly wonky idea that you can take to move your dream forward? I mean, seriously, if you're thinking about a creator on this planet, putting drafts together, if you're thinking of a catalyst on this planet that eventually creates the draft, come on, come on. Small steps in the direction of an idea that really makes your heart sing, that really makes you laugh, that's where you want to be. I mean, I might not know you. You've never had the opportunity to meet me face to face, but I know you have an idea in your head that makes you feel that way. That's the idea that you want to latch onto and begin taking steps toward. But there's a greater idea here that I'd like to share with you when you're feeling anxious or uncertain. Now, if you will recall, I mentioned at the first of this message that when people believe that something started this planet of ours, they usually fall into the two camps, right? They either believe that an omniscient, omnipresent creator put the full planet into motion. And then there are other people who believe that a catalyst put everything in motion, a kernel of life that grew ever larger. Me personally, I think our creator allows us to ponder both of these concepts because the creator wants us to understand that instilled in each of us is both creator and catalyst. I mean, a catalyst is an element that provokes or speeds significant change or action. Why do you think I call this the catalyst code? It happens in nature 1,000,001 times a day as a rote automatic function. Yet we have the ability to act as thinking catalysts every day of our lives. Why do you think I have the catalyst code? When you feel disoriented or confused about the steps to take in your own life, when you wake up feeling, somewhat despondent because your life isn't where you believe it should be, when you struggle with old paradigms that have you feeling indecisive or frozen in place, when you feel like all of it out there is invading your ability to move forward here, focus instead on the magnificent gift that you are. You are a catalyst. There is always a reason why you have placed yourself in this place, in this time with these people around you. So consider for just a moment that you are actually here in this place to serve as their catalyst. When you come to understand that you exist as a catalyst each and every day of your life, your focus immediately shifts from what is wrong or frozen in your life and turns its attention instead to shaping and changing your interactions, to serve and support the lives and experiences of others. How are you currently acting as a catalyst in the lives of your spouses, your children? How are you acting and interacting with your environment? Whose lives are you touching through email? How are you acting as a catalyst there? We are all energetic bodies in motion. Everything is energy. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but it is always affected. As a catalyst, you are instantly shifting the energy around you. It doesn't matter if you're conscious or unconscious of this knowledge. You do it anyway 1,000,000 times a day. You can't stop being a catalyst any more than you can stop an avalanche billowing downhill. But you can stop the kind of energy you're putting out there because you have above all other creatures and creations on this planet, even above the neon polka-dotted fish, the ability to think as a catalyst, and the ability to create as a creator, to think as a catalyst. You have the ability to knowingly shift your interactions in an instant so that the positive energy you put out there is immediately snatched up and moved in such a fast chain reaction that it makes a splitting atom look slow. Focus on infusing your life with passion. Find glamour and humor in everything outside your door. Seek out creations and critters that leave you with a sense of awe and wonder. Actively seek moments in time and people in your day that you feel gratitude for. Treat every person you meet as the most important person on earth. Earl Nightingale said that in Lead the Field. It has stuck with me all my life. Treat every person you meet as the most important person on earth. Admire what other people do and tell them so. Respect how other people think. Respect how other people act and tell them so. Find ways to help other people move forward in their lives, always remembering that it is not your job to carry them. It's your gift to act as a thinking, positive-minded catalyst in their own energetic spheres. Remember, catalysts aren't necessarily explosive whumps. They're normally these small nudges that get energy flowing in the right direction. As one of my favorite authors, Robert Russell, says, all that is required is for you to do little things in a great way every day. Think for a moment of the enormity of the gifts that you have been given. You are a creator and you are a catalyst. Whatever high diving board of dreams that you're standing on and you're putting your toes over the edge of, understand that you're on this planet to create. Whether it was a creator, whether it was a catalyst, it is what was intended for you to do. You have every ability to jump into a big, colorful, passionate life that is all your own and that touches the lives of hundreds and thousands, even millions of people you might not even see or notice. You have that much energetic power as a catalyst, as a creator. This life of yours, it's no one else's opportunity but your very own. It's time to get moving. Break out of that jar and start living your life your way. Creator. Catalyst. Your way. What are you going to change today?